Sam Harnett is a tech and labor reporter at KQED in San Francisco. Although he sort of takes exception with the phrase tech reporter.
If you're covering the extractive capitalism happening at a major corporation that's just using the internet to make money and profit,
many of the people who consider themselves tech journalists aren't really reporting on technology.
Like, what technology does Uber have? It has an app. I mean, even Google. Google's search algorithms, okay, you can construe that as technology, but really, they're gathering data and running an advertising business. So I think it's a stretch to call these journalists tech journalists when really what they are reporting on are corporations that are using the internet to make money.
Harnett is also the author of a paper entitled Words Matter: How Tech Media Helped Write Gig Companies into Existence. He's covered companies like Lyft for 7 years, almost since it was founded. Lyft gave drivers fuzzy pink mustaches and marketed itself as a tech company that put the power of sharing rides directly into people's hands.
Drivers with spare seats should be able to share them, make extra money, get paid on their own terms. And we'll give out giant pink mustaches for the front of every car.
Whoa, cowboy.
Food and grocery delivery companies like Instacart, DoorDash, and Postmates also emerged into the gig economy. Harnett remembers watching with alarm as words like pivot, rideshare, and collaborative consumption began to appear in news stories.
Sometimes these terms and rhetoric come out of the companies, and a lot of the times it came out of bad journalism. Like the term sharing economy, for example. Uber and Lyft weren't running advertisements with, we are the sharing economy.
But they didn't need to. Reporters and pundits began describing this for them.
Companies like Uber and Airbnb and Lyft ran with it. They're like, all right, that's great. You want to call us sharing? We can accept that.
These corporations had a kind of futuristic, utopian glow about them. And Harnett says journalists are always looking to write about something new. Framing these companies as new and innovative platforms helped convince lawmakers that they were different from other corporations.
Therefore, we should not be held by the laws that regulate employees because those are old laws and we're new companies. They can argue that they deserve an entirely new regulatory scheme, which is exactly what they got in Proposition 22.
In November 2020, California voters decided to pass Proposition 22. It exempts a handful of gig companies from following a state labor law, so they can continue classifying their workers as independent contractors. Gig companies pumped over $181 million into this ballot measure. In their advertising, they billed this effort as a social justice issue.
Lift up your eyes upon this day breaking for you. Give birth again to the dream.
In one ad for the measure, you can hear Maya Angelou reading On the Pulse of the Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Buenos dias.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Then these words appear on the screen. Every day is a new chance to lift each other up. Lift Up provides free rides to communities who lack access to jobs, food, and basic services. Prop 22 supporters argue workers want to be independent, and being an employee would take away that freedom.
Protecting their flexibility and providing historic new benefits are what we're fighting for. Vote yes on Prop 22 to help create a better path forward for drivers.
And the measure passed. Lyft's CEO celebrated, saying Prop 22 would be a model for other states. Uber and Lyft drivers and labor unions have sued to overturn it, and President Joe Biden has said he'll move to classify these workers as employees. As for reporter Sam Harnett, he still struggles to stop himself from using terms and rhetoric that paint gig companies in a favorable light.
I'm still getting to the point where I'm like, wait, why am I calling this company a startup? Like, what does it even mean to call it a startup? These terms are often loaded against workers, and the rhetoric benefits those in power.
In response to the lawsuit, companies like Uber and Lyft say voters across the political spectrum spoke loud and clear. But when the rhetoric of big tech is so loud, it's hard to tell who's doing the talking.
It's like you need both halves of the brain, right? The Jobs and the Wozniak, the yin and the yang.
For Philosophy Talk, I'm Holly J. McDede.